he is appointed Treasury Secretary, so the European finance ministers will lend enough gold to the United States to float a new hard currency to be able to pay the army again. However, the director in the novel of the FBI and updated in the movie to the director of FEMA have their own agenda. And so Dr. Vreeland and his family, including his son, 16-year-old son, Elliot, basically find themselves on the run from the federal government as they attempt to get out of the country before an arrest warrant can put them in a secret FEMA prison.
And now under NDAA, Eric Holder, the master kingpin of so many public criminal operations, says that Homeland Security is not for radical Islam, but it is for the Tea Party, gun owners, libertarians, conservatives. Why do you think we're seeing this shift publicly? It's so surreal, I can't even believe it, but publicly onto anybody that likes George Washington as a terrorist?
Well, for the same reason why the original tyrant of this continent, King George III, was not particularly fond of the Continental Congress. If you stand up for your rights, then you are not their pawns anymore, and you're a problem.
Wow, I want to talk more about the film, but afterwards I want to get your view just on the world today. Again, we have Neil Schulman alongside nightmovie.com. But first off, tell folks where and when it's opening, how we can make sure that it's a big hit at first, because for the folks that don't know, if the first cities where it's shown sell out for even a few days in a row, it will then get booked at other theaters, causing a chain reaction.
Well, Alex, it is possible for anybody, including Alex Jones, to go to the tug.com, and I'll use the radio code to spell that. That's Tango Uniform Golf Golf, tug.com, and book a screening of Alongside Night anywhere in the United States. There are thousands of theaters which are already signed up into the tug.com system, ready to put this movie out there. And so if you don't find a screening already in your own city, you book one, but you do have to do a little bit of marketing because you have to hit a minimum of somewhere between 60 and 70 or so tickets sold for the screening to be confirmed. However, if it's not confirmed, nobody gets charged, including the promoter. The promoter gets 5% of the ticket sales, and it's essentially on-demand distribution from the grassroots, which is an ideal situation for an independent film like Alongside Night, which, although it's being given a lot of attention, Kevin Sorbo was just on ABC's On the Red Carpet over the weekend. So we are breaking through to the mass market entertainment media. But nonetheless, Hollywood hasn't given us a distribution deal yet. And this is an ideal way to organize grassroots distribution while we're waiting for a traditional run like Kevin Sorbo's previous film, God's Not Dead, which in 9 weeks did $61 million at the domestic box office.
And then people say, well, why do I want to make, the independent filmmakers $61 million? Because then they can make hit after hit promoting pro-freedom, pro-human messages, and we can literally overthrow Hollywood, the main globalist propaganda arm. This is how you win wars. 90% of it is propaganda. And folks, propaganda is a neutral term. It has a negative connotation. But there's black propaganda, gray propaganda, and white propaganda. When we put out white propaganda, families are good. Private property is good. Self-defense is good. It's a win-win-win. You feel good at night. You have a great society. You don't screw people over. Black propaganda is lying to people, destroying them, dumbing them down, making them dependent. MSNBC. Being deceptive, manipulating, cheating people, making them think as groups, not individuals. Gray propaganda is just basically taking care of yourself at other people's expenses. Your take on that? I think the age of the kleptocrat is coming to an end. I believe that the waxing of corruption right now will be the beginning of their undoing. Look at all the statistics.
Alex, you do a job as an investigative journalist, which absolutely has to be done. I'm taking a slightly different approach. I'm saying I think that the system is already beyond the tipping point, and I think that we are already into a rebirth of the 1776 scenario of directly defending our rights against the government. However, I am not advocating violence. I am not advocating combating the government. I'm advocating using a jiu-jitsu approach of having their force miss us and being able to create a network of secure markets and secure networks.
No, I agree. I agree. The kleptocratic left wants us to have a civil war with the police and military. We need to just be InfoWar with our dollars and our words, befriend them, and when they still attack us, just try to step out of the way, as almost like judo. We'll be right back. Stay with us. I've heard about this group. I think it started in Austin a few years ago. It's become very popular, and it's really propelling a lot of independent films to huge success. A lot of liberty-based films where you go sign up that you do want to see it at a theater in your area who's associated with it. And then if enough people do that, it comes and is shown there. And I think you've only got to usually get about a quarter of the theater filled, and then that will pay to bring it to the theater. Very, very exciting. Neil, tell folks again how they can go to that website and sign up to see AlongsideNightMovie.com. And then if it doesn't show, their money's refunded.
Right. Well, first of all, it doesn't cost the promoter any money to begin with. You don't have to put up any of your own money. But very frankly, if you go to AlongsideNightMovie.com, right on our website, we either have, you click through to find theaters or host a screening, and that'll put you right on the Tug.com website, either to buy a ticket for an existing screening or to host a screening of your own. Listen, let me emphasize, Alongside Night is not a documentary like Dinesh D'Souza is putting out. No offense to Dinesh D'Souza. He is the opposite number of Michael Moore. But what Alongside Night movie is a near-future political thriller. And we're talking about a movie with a lot of drama, a lot of action, a lot of comedy, and great music, including a full symphony orchestra score recorded by the National Symphony Orchestra of Ukraine, and a theme song, which you might as well figure that is coming out of a James Bond movie, which I'm very proud to say was written and performed by my daughter Soleil.
Amazing. Well, again, it's a key part of the info war that these independent films get promoted out there. Looking at the larger picture, I mean, I agree with you. We're going into the end game with these people because they're order out of chaos. They're more than happy to just wreck everything. And
they've already done it, Alex. In other words, we don't need to. Look, when Alongside Night first came out in 1979, it was considered science fiction. It's not science fiction anymore because the conditions necessary for them to have totally violated the rights of the American people, and for us to realize that the Constitution, which was so carefully crafted to limit power, has not done that. It's a tragedy that what our founding fathers crafted together and to balance off the powers of government so that the people would always be in charge. Over the centuries, it is degraded to the point where that isn't true anymore. We have our rights, as stated eloquently in the Declaration of Independence, and we never give up those rights. It is not subject to the whim of the government. It is not subject to the whim of anybody. We stand up for those rights. We simply say, no, we will not be oppressed. We are Americans, and we remember, and we will never forget.
We got a couple minutes left before we go to break, and I look forward to getting you back on the Nightly News soon to break down more of the film. But other points you'd like to address dealing with the film or just where our culture and society is going?
All right. Very frankly, we have already reached the tipping point where the government and the powers that wish to oppress us have already taken on too much, more than they can chew. Okay, there is no point on the Laffer curve where taxation can support the government debt. It can't even service the debt. Okay, we are going to reach a point where the dollar is no longer going to be the reserve currency of other countries, and they're not going to eat our debt anymore. When that happens, there's not going to be any money for welfare anymore. You can talk about whether or not welfare is going to be used for United States citizens or for foreigners. It doesn't matter when the checks bounce. And so what we need to do is we need to focus on a post-political situation, a situation in where the solutions come from the economic sector, not the political sector. Resilient markets, secure communication, secure transportation of goods and services in such a way that they can't stop our trade anymore. We build up secure markets. We build up our secure communications in such a way that we exercise our freedom and simply refuse to knuckle down.
You know what? Can you do 5 more minutes with us on the other side? Because I want to talk about what you just said. It's so key. Everything the globalists do, the global collectivists who exempt themselves from their own collectivism, they live above it but skim off the top, use collectivism to dumb us down and domesticate us. Everything they do is about making us dependent, making us not have our own systems. The great crime is to be Amish or to have a lemonade stand. The great crime is to have your own machine shop. That's where they send zoners and the bureaucrats to shut you down. You're absolutely right. We must become independent. That's
We're on
the key.
march. The empire
We'll be back. Stay with us.
Run.